Welcome back, away team. Nice to see you survived, and you found yourself in the warm embrace of 10 forward. So grab a Bailey's and a Recticino, grab a spot at the bar, and sit down while we discuss a very controversial subject. New Star Trek.
NuTrek, is it good, bad, or meh? Take it away.
None of the above.
It's not good, it's not bad, and it's not meh?
Well, so we discussed a little bit about the quality of a TV series in general, right? You more often than not, you find a TV series has its weak episodes and it has its good episodes, and then the really good shows have both that and then their amazing award-winning episodes. Because, I mean, you love Battlestar Galactica, the reimagined series, right?
Yep, best sci-fi series.
There are episodes, though, that you kind of just you want to fast-forward through.
You mean the one where Kat takes the Top Gun slot off Starbuck?
Yeah,
that's perfect. Yeah.
There's a couple of weird episodes, and Star Trek always had those too. Star Trek: The Next Generation had Sub Rosa. Star Trek Voyager had the one where they turn into
anything with a K's on.
No, the one where Janeway
the salamanders
turn into salamanders.
Yeah, that the premise of that episode is great, trying to break the warp 10 barrier, but then it just kind of where the fuck are they going with this? So
TOS had Spock's brain. Deep Space Nine
also had Ron Howard's brother.
Yeah, Deep Space Nine had its entire first season.
Well, there we go. So we're talking about NuTrek, which we're considering Picard, Lower Decks, and Discovery.
Well, you asked me, is it good, bad, or meh? And I'm like, neither. I don't. But this is, you said polarizing. This is why I say I don't think it's quite polarizing.
I haven't said polarizing yet. I'm going to say it now. I believe that modern day Star Trek is very polarizing.
You haven't said it yet. We've already talked about it.
No, because that was before we went recorded. All right. I think it is polarizing because I think at this moment the sci-fi community is so Jedi and Sith. It's not fucking true.
But you obviously don't then read into what's going on with Star Trek then, because it's really not. This is what's wonderful about Trekkies. Trekkies are usually just super chill, like neckbeards, living in their grandma's basements types.
That's a bit insulting to the female Trekkies. I don't think they have neckbeards.
What, you saying women can't have beards?
Only bearded women.
Yeah.
And they definitely don't have neckbeards.
How dare you? Anyway, no, my point being is that Trekkies, the majority of Trekkies are very chill. I honestly think that,
apart from the ones that go completely off the fucking
I was just gonna say, I think Trekkies who are like super like forgiving, apologetic, and Trek can't do no wrong in my mind are out to lunch. They're
as bad as the ones who say that it's complete garbage. And
so there is a polarized subset of the audience.
We're talking to you, motherfuckers.
But I believe people such as myself and we actually have a channel that I have listed on the feature channels for our channel. It's someone I like to follow. It's two fellas who are an example of what I'm getting at, and the channel is called Trek Yards. Go check them out. But they just love Star Trek, right? It's Star Trek, the word Star Trek, and everything that comes with it and what's associated.
If you didn't quite get that, he said the word Star Trek.
And so everything that comes with that is something that they're passionate about. And they give the good its due, and they give the bad its due, and they give the mediocre its due, and they are the Trekkies that I am referring to here, and I think they're the majority of most Trekkies.
I would probably agree with you, but what I also find is that the majority then are a silent majority, and because they are kind of, I didn't really like that one, but that one I did like. They don't feel like going, internet, that was shit, why is she crying so much?
Look at the biggest YouTube channel, right? The biggest YouTube channel doesn't have 7.2 billion subscribers. People on the internet are a minority.
Yeah.
The vocal people on the internet, people who use Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, sharing everything left, right, and center every 5 seconds. Us on TRS Media, we're a minority. Most people don't engage. Most people just want to go and watch the show and be like, oh crap, I'm not going to watch it again. Oh, fuck, that was great. I'm going to go out and buy the Blu-ray. That's it.
Well, and the reason why I say it's polarizing, is because of the non-silent majority there. Then, so you got your silent majority who aren't polarized, but then every arsehole with a mouth on the internet, it's either black, white, Jedi, Sith, awesome, bad, and that's not the way TV is. Like we discussed in our last live podcast when we did the WandaVision finale. Look how that got so many people frothed up into a frumming rabid frenzy, and they missed the point of the show. And I think people have done that with new Star Trek. They've just missed the point. It's another chance to have stories told in a universe that if you're a Trekkie, you love. And rather than watch it like that, they're like, oh, well, that doesn't look like TNG. Why is that more advanced? Stop watching it like that. Just watch a good story in the Star Trek universe. And if you don't enjoy it, move on to the next. If you don't enjoy 6 in a row, stop fucking watching.
So to clarify on what you're saying there is, like, you don't tell people how to enjoy things. You said don't do that, but then you did say just enjoy it if you want to enjoy it.
And if you don't,
if you don't
watch it.
Don't watch it. Exactly. That's the thing. If people want to bitch and complain about the lack of visual continuity in Star Trek Discovery, for instance, be my guest. Go for it. You can do it. And I honestly have to agree. There's in NuTrek, there is always three things that really just confuse.
I'd have been killed by Nazis. You'd have been okay. You've never seen Inglourious Bastards, have you? When he asks for 3 drinks, that's how English say 3. That's how Germans say 3. Okay. So they know he's English, and that's how they kill him.
Because I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's 3 things in NuTrek that, even as a moderate, I'm like, stop doing that, please. Just
can I try and guess them?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So I'm gonna guess one of them is the MacGuffin factor, bringing along a piece of technology that never existed.
No, Star Trek's always been about MacGuffins. Just MacGuffins galore. Bring all the MacGuffins. Technobabble the shit out of anything for all I care.
As long as they technobabble it, not just
no. So anyway, you're not gonna guess.
All right,
because they're very minor issues.
All right,
but they're things that I just like. I'm like, you really come on. Like, this is simple, like, easy shit.
Saying the word fuck.
The first one, no, I see swearing doesn't bother me whatsoever. Because a lot of people have assumed that swearing doesn't exist in
of course it does.
No, it exists. It's just what Kirk's trying to explain to Spock is that it's not that we've evolved beyond the need for colourful metaphors. It's just that people in the 20th century
say fuck all the time.
Yeah, they're constantly swearing.
Yeah.
Swearing exists. It's just people.
What I hate about that scene when people bitch and moan about that scene is you got to remember Spock's still learning from getting his capture put back in his head. It's very So it's like Spock's a child and he's having to relearn all this shit.
Yeah, because realistically, if the argument that people don't swear in the future, when Spock says, "Oh, I've noticed there's colourful language people have used since our arrival," Kirk could have been like, "Yeah, me too. I don't get it." But anyway, so no, these are my 3 things. Bridge windows.
The glass, transparent aluminum.
Well, okay, so yeah, in tech manuals it is transparent aluminium, so it doesn't matter when you think about it that way. However, where the design departments of these shows kind of don't pay attention to that shit, because every now and then when shit's happening and the ship's getting damaged, it starts to crack. It's metal. It wouldn't crack. That's the whole point. They use transparent.
That's a very JJ thing.
Well,
that's slipped across.
So I don't understand why they keep doing that. It's like it's a structural. Again, the Geth. It's a structural weakness. They don't use windows on the bridge for a reason, because
and it's called a view screen.
Yeah, well,
it's a TV screen,
but there is a view screen over the bridge window.
Yeah, not in
the second thing.
Not in my Trek.
The second thing are these TARDIS starships. With like roller coaster, like fucking turbo lifts, and
it's like, where the fuck does this space come from?
Well, so the space I can get, like, sure, I can just imagine maybe that area, maybe the drive section of Discovery is fucking cavernous, and there's no decks in there, and all the spore technology is in there or something. But the turbo lifts, like, Turbolifts go up and side to side. They go up the z-axis and the y and the x-axis. They don't go like a roller coaster.
They go up all axes. They go X, Y, and Z.
That's what I said.
Well, you went up, down, left, and right. They also go backwards and forwards.
No, I said Z, Y, and X.
All right, okay.
So
this is.
Let me finish my point. The problem is the roller coaster ones. So, like the first time we see it, what's happening is the turbolift comes in from left, right? We see a panning shot, and then it comes in, and then it goes like that, like it's going off the edge of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Which means, as it was coming, the people inside the turbolift were laid down like this. So, like, is the gravity changing constantly? No. Turbolifts go like this, up. Like,
yeah, they're a lift.
Yeah, if you don't go
an
like
elevator.
this.
Oh well, this is what's the problem though with a lot of NuTrek: style over substance. It's got to look good.
That's not even good style.
No, because and this is what I think they need to embrace and realize is a spaceship, a starship, is basically a submarine in space.
Yeah, there's very limited space.
Everything is rammed in. If one of the best memes I've seen on the internet on the Star Trek for meme page, which is brilliant, is the cutaway shot of Voyager, and in every room there's a fucking shuttle because they don't explain why they have so many shuttles. But if that's how many shuttles they had,
and then they have the Delta Flyer as well.
If that's how many shuttles they've had, that's where they would all be rammed in.
Yeah.
So Discovery does suffer from.
Yeah, but this is a good point though.
Trying to make stuff look pretty.
This is a good point when it comes to like comparing. Now you compare it to old Trek. There's an example of Rick Berman era Trek making an egregious error like that.
And that people don't even just kind of like it just washes over.
They completely forgot about it. Like they say, I think early on, like we only have something like 48 torpedoes.
Yeah.
So we can only use them sparingly. And then like if you actually count how many torpedoes that they use throughout the whole run of the show, they use something like 200 torpedoes.
Did you see the one that was put on the meme page yesterday, where it's B'Elanna saying, "I've just kind of done a torpedo inventory. We have 47," and Janeway goes, that's so nice that two of those torpedoes rubbed together and made baby torpedoes.
Yeah, exactly. So exactly right. This is the real crux of whether or not NuTrek is good, because to me it's not being judged on its own merits. It's always been judged compared to the older Star Trek. Now, because I get in these arguments all the time on Facebook with people always assume because I like Discovery that I think that old Star Trek is bad, and they think, oh, you must really hate shit TV if you like Discovery. I'm like, well, no, don't get me. So let me explain. Discovery is all right.
Okay, so
when it's bad, it's bad. But when it's good, just like any Star Trek.
Before we go into that, tell us what your third point is.
The third one is the constant misunderstanding about the size of space, because this happens in Picard. It happens even in Lower Decks. The galaxy. They're always talking about, oh man, like there's a galactic treaty, and you know, it's Star Wars reasoning, Star Wars logic. You go into hyperspace and you get to where you're going, whereas Star Trek was always really grounded about the galaxy. We were in this small area of the Alpha Quadrant,
and that's why Voyager took 75 years to get back if they were going to come.
And it's where Discovery Season 3 really kind of like was walking the tightrope a little bit, because they never actually really said where they were at any given point in time. All they did was say that because a lot of ships can't use warp and very few ships have means of getting around, a lot of people are stranded in different parts of the galaxy. That to me was ambiguous enough that it's like, okay, good, you're learning your lesson, but they still made this issue when it came to time and travel. Like when there's an episode in season 3 where Burnham and Georgiou go to rescue Buck from the Orion Syndicate's prison camp,
slave camp,
and they never write detailed about where it is or how far they have to go to get there. They just they hop in Buck's ship and then they're there because the episode needs them to get there. In the original series, you know, they had the same problems too, except there was a framing device for that. They were on a 5-year mission. Yeah. They're on the edges of deep space. It doesn't matter.
But on the flip side of that, one thing Discovery does well is when they first get Buck on board in the first few episodes and they use the Sporg drive to get to Earth, Buck literally says, I'm in an area of space I've never been before. Mm-hmm. So they point out...
they're learning their lesson.
Yeah, they point out that with dilithium gone, there are these clumps around the Alpha Quadrant that kind of don't interact because of distance, whereas Star Wars just forgets about distance. So I would say that with Discovery, and I'm going to say this, Discovery is very much like Star Trek The Next Generation. Season 1 of Star Trek The Next Generation had more weak episodes than good episodes. Had some phenomenal episodes, but it was laying groundwork. We didn't know these characters. They were very kind of wooden. Season 2 gets better. Still, if you were to talk about the 7 seasons of TNG, you'd probably put 1 and 2 towards the bottom. Season 3, it's starting to get really good. 4, 5, 6, and it gets better and better. That's how TV shows work.
Season 1 of Picard, though, are not terrible. Everybody always says, "Oh well, man, it was the first 2 seasons of not Picard, sorry, Star Trek: The Next Generation. The first 2 seasons of The Next Generation were terrible." Well, no, it's trying to find its footing. It's weak. It's got some problems here and there, but you have episodes like Measure of a Man, and in season 2 you've got like episodes like Q Who. You've got really good episodes. Skin of Evil.
But that's what I'm saying though. Discovery's the same. Discovery seasons 1 and 2. 1's still got some good episodes. 2's got some very good episodes. It's only like we've stated before in our previous
My
episodes.
favourite episode is in season 1.
Yeah, the Harry Mudd episode.
Yeah, the second Harry Mudd episode. The magic to make the sanest men go mad. The cause and effect ripoff.
Yeah, and then anything in the Terran Empire in season 1 is phenomenal. And then season 2, we saw the trend going in the right way, and then we've already stated on previous episodes when they lost the writers halfway through.
Yeah, every time they sack the writers, it always seems to go off.
But then season 3 got it back together again. What did they do? They were like, "How do we rescue this?" I know. We'll put the ship in a completely unknown scenario. And it works. Now, I did see it.
Season 3, Picard and Lower Decks basically prove.
You mean TNG?
No. Picard, Lower Decks, and Season 3 of Discovery basically prove that if you want to make new Star Trek, you've got to stop making prequels. Because
100%.
Because if you want to make prequels, this is why I'm a little apprehensive about Strange New Worlds. Not personally. I think I'll enjoy it. I think it'll be fine. I'm pretty sure there'll be bridge windows. But I'm apprehensive because of all of the fucking haters who are going to just absolutely immediately, I'm not going to watch this. I turned it off after 15 minutes.
The one good thing they've got, though, is the actor that played Spock, the actor that plays Pike, and the actor...
Ethan Peck is the one who plays Spock, and Anson Mount
and then Rebecca Romaine. Those 3...
Anson Mount is Pike.
Yeah, those 3 were actually liked in Season 2 of Discovery. So they're starting off from a positive. Mm-hmm. Those 3 characters were liked. It's the Enterprise...
But do you want to know what they would need to do if they want to do themselves a favour? And I know, like, Kurtzman, is stubborn as he is, would do really well to do this. The first episode, Enterprise is in dry dock. The Enterprise has been going under refits to make it more in line with new Starfleet regulations, and you've got pictures of the pylons being changed, and it's like being made to look more and more like it's supposed to look in the original series.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, I like the Discovery Enterprise, and so I don't think you have to go completely drastic, but like you would really immediately make a lot of friends in the Trekkie community if they just and they'd be like, "Oh, we're taking the bridge window out."
What's it called?
We've done away with the roller coaster turbo lifts.
The TOS series that was remastered with new planets and new looking Enterprises. The Enterprise still looks like the fucking Enterprise, but it looks like it was done with modern day effects. It looks awesome. There's no reason why they can't do that. But again, the problem is it's like. What I think it's the producers of the show wanting to try and distinguish that they are different from what came before, while still trying to use that medium.
Yeah, and that's why ultimately making prequels is not a good idea. Well, if you want to be your own creative voice, then do something new in the future. And that's why Discovery Season 3, in my opinion, is the best of the new Trek.
Did you see the meme, though, about the Viking ship? So it says... Discovery going to the 29th century is like a Viking ship showing up today, being armed with cannons, rail guns.
I think that's a bullshit argument.
I think it is, but I thought it was funny.
Why is that stupid?
Because the people on Discovery are 23rd century beings who are space explorers already. So them going to the unless the only way that would have worked is if they'd have made 29th century Star Trek. So far advanced because
32nd century, man.
32nd century. I thought it was 29th.
No, 29th is where relativity is from.
All right, yes, that's correct. So they would have had to make 32nd century Starfleet as advanced as we are compared to Vikings, which would have been them.
That's actually not what my stance is.
Well, what's your stance?
My stance is people making that observation are completely misunderstanding how time works. Because time isn't always linear.
It's relative.
Yeah, exactly. The passage of time does not always equal progress.
No.
Just because 900 years has passed doesn't necessarily mean
600 of them might have been the equivalent to the future of Dark Ages.
Well, and not to mention, we are in a Dark Ages. The burn is one of that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, but it was a meme. It was supposed to be funny, and I thought it was quite funny.
Well, this is the thing. We were on that Star Trek memes page. I get in arguments with these people all the time because, to me, yeah, sure, you're being funny. Are they though?
Or they're just being passive aggressive?
Yeah, realistically, if you're going to go out there and make that opinion as a joke, you still need to be prepared to be scrutinized for that joke.
I believe Star Trek Discovery creators, Season 3, were very risky and took the risk to advance the show, to keep the show going. And I think everything they did was a step in the right direction. Mm-hmm. As far as all the critics on about Michael Burnham crying all the time, you know me, my biggest criticisms of seasons 1 and 2 of Discovery are Michael Burnham. I actually really liked Michael in this season 3. Mm-hmm. As far as crying goes, what's wrong with crying? And it's not like she's bawling her eyes out every 2 seconds like a damsel in distress. When she cries, it's meaningful. She's meant to cry. She's just gone through some kind of trauma.
And kind of the theme of season 3, one of the themes anyway of season 3 is very heavily leaned on when it comes to all the crying. These people have left their lives behind. They know everyone they've ever known and loved is dead. Michael Burnham herself has been trapped here alone, with some friends, but for a year. So, it's not like the crying isn't earned and the emotion isn't earned, because a lot of people accuse it of being melodramatic.
That scene with Tilly,
it's only melodramatic if it's over the top and not necessary. But it's necessary to the plot. It's trying to show us that these people are coming to terms with the fact that they have just left their lives behind and everyone they know is dead and gone.
Yeah, and that scene with Tilly, that's probably the best scene that shows that. But also the scene, because people, when I first watched it, I was like, why are they writing another good character out? But the scene where they write out, is it the Benzite, the commander? When she stays on the ship with
the Barzan.
Barzan, not Benzite, yeah. When she stays on a ship, there's a reason for
Commander
that.
Non.
Because she's not seen any of her people in for God knows how long. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense that she would stay with him.
Well, in that moment as well where she's kind of opening up to them about how she's like, I haven't seen my family since I joined Starfleet, and immediately Culber makes the assumption, he's like, oh, they must have been really proud of you, and she turns around and says, no, they were devastated.
Yeah.
Because her family saw that as a betrayal to them, to her people, by leaving and going off and becoming a member of Starfleet.
Yeah, I think the people that bitch and moan about the emotional context of Discovery miss the point. Like, why does Saru leave at the end to go with... I
don't think they missed the point. I just think they expected, because of 90s style television, the characters in Star Trek The Next Generation were mostly flat, with moments of emotion. But the idea, think of Picard, stoic Captain Picard, right?
Doesn't like kids.
Yeah,
he does.
It's not that he doesn't like kids. It's just he's not good with kids. There's a difference between not liking kids and not being good with kids. I love kids. I think I love my niece. I love kids. I think kids are great. I'm not very good with them though, and I stay away from them. Because to me, if I'm hanging out with kids, I'm just like, want a beer? I don't know. I'm not good with kids.
Do.
Exactly, yeah. And that's more how you have to think about Picard's relationship with children. So, it's not that he doesn't like children. It's just that he chose another path. He didn't want to have kids. He doesn't really understand kids. But no, I had a point. Hold on. So you got stoic Captain Picard, who's always strong, and he's the commander of the ship. He's the captain. Nothing bad ever happens to him, except he gets assimilated by the Borg. He basically gets violated and used to commit countless atrocities and murder. And he has that moment in the follow-up episode family, where he goes down to the vineyard, down to Chateau Picard, and he gets in that fight with his brother and whatnot, and they start having a punch out, and they start laughing.
The general from Top Secret.
And they're playing in the mud, and they start laughing and having a joke with each other, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Picard just breaks down. He starts crying, and you see this part. This is remember, this is season 4 now.
Yeah.
We've gone 3 seasons. Not expecting this from our hero, and to see that I'm getting fucking,
and again,
look, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about this.
When it's earned, it's very well delivered by Star Trek's emotion.
Yeah. And I think that's probably what a lot of people are saying, though. They're probably complaining that in NuTrek, because they say it's melodramatic, they probably believe it's not earned. And again, this now comes back to the sort of the meat of this discussion. Yeah. Right, it's not always really well earned in NuTrek. There are moments where I am kind of like,
okay, so in
because NuTrek isn't amazing. It's definitely. I don't think any of the new seasons of Star Trek.
It's trending in the right direction.
I don't think any of them are as good as Deep Space Nine, though.
No,
none of them are as good as Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I'd say one of them is better than Voyager.
I think Discovery. Okay, so I think the best episodes of Discovery are better.
Then the best episodes of Voyager.
Well,
yeah, they are 100%.
Okay, the worst episodes of Voyager are not as good as the best episodes of Discovery.
No, the best episodes of Discovery are better than the best episodes of Voyager.
Yeah,
but the average episode of Voyager is better than the average episode of Discovery.
No,
I think it is.
I think
no, production value is not.
I think Voyager is a very weak TV series and has.
It is, and especially and the funny thing is. One of the things I really like about Discovery, which not a lot of Trek has, except the original cast in the movies, is the sense of how people actually interact with each other and how you build friends. I like this person on the crew. I like this person. I don't know this person because I don't work with him. You can tell in the crew of Discovery, some of them are friends. Some of them will go to 10 forward and have a Ractagino with them. Whereas in Star Trek...
They have a mess hall, not a forward.
Whereas in Star Trek, the classic Star Trek, you don't really get that. Whereas in Voyager, the only real relationship you really get like that is Tom and Harry. Even Tom and B'Elanna are not believable as a couple. And yet you'd think out of
the Doctor and Seven are the best duo in Voyager.
But I think that's because the Doctor is a
Janeway and the Doctor, Janeway and Seven... to be honest, Janeway is amazing with everyone, but there's very few of the other characters.
If you think about it, that series should have been the one by the end of it. They're all a big family, and formalities broken down a little bit because they're no longer in Starfleet. Technically, they're now a generational ship traveling through space, and Voyager missed that mark. And the interpersonal relationships, like my favorite pairing. On Discovery, the Doctor and Stamets. I think those two are awesome. They're actually believable that they love each other and they're a couple, and it's believable. Whereas in other Star Trek, where you like again Tom and B'Elanna, that is not believable at all. Tilly and Michael as friends. Actually, you believe that they're really good friends and roommates.
I actually find the character interactions between the crew of Discovery to be a little bit wooden from time to time. My favourite interactions are usually between Saru and Burnham. Now, because to me, that's where what you're talking about how people behave around each other. The way that they went from him being super suspicious and super afraid of her behavior and attitude to coming to a sort of like mutual understanding of each other, to
professional respect,
to then becoming really good friends, and then to them becoming like family. That to me is the most believable.
I think they're all believable. Tilly and Michael, their relationship is very believable. As I say, the Doctor and Stamets, that's very believable. The chief engineer, I always forget her name. Her interactions with everybody.
She's not the chief. Tegan Notaro's character?
Yeah, I thought she's the chief engineer.
Jet Reno, no.
So who's the chief engineer?
We don't know who the chief engineer is.
Because Stamets is the chief spore drive guy.
He's a science officer. He's the spore tech.
See, she comes across as chief engineer to me.
So she kind of tags along. Remember, she was the chief engineer of the Hiawatha. and then they rescue her from that ship,
and that's how I can. Yeah,
well, she just sticks around.
But like, again, her interactions,
no official transfer or anything. She just sticks around. That's
Michael
a lot of people, though, a lot of purists, all these like super like Trekkies are all like, why don't they have a real chief engineer? It makes no sense. And all I can think to myself is, the Enterprise D didn't have a fucking chief engineer until season 2. Every
week it was someone different.
It was someone different. You
had the woman, you had the fat ginger guy with the beard.
Yeah.
No, but
fat ginger guy. Yeah, that's not very nice to fat ginger guys.
But that's what Discovery does really well for me, is interpersonal relationships. Going on to another Trek, which does them even better, is Lower Decks. I think the interaction between the characters on Lower Decks is phenomenal. To me, it's the highlight of the show. The fact that it's what do you call it? Not seen, but like scripted in a Star Trek show.
Mm-hmm.
Their interactions between the characters on Lower Decks is brilliant.
So the creator of Lower Decks, Mike McMahon, actually has a passion project for season 8 of The Next Generation that he made, or at least he was going to pitch it, and that's how he got the job as the writer and showrunner for.
So his pitch was pretty good then, obviously.
Lower Decks. If you ask me, again, if they want to do themselves favors, if Kurtzman and Okuda want to really get brownie points with the Trek faithful, they should put Mike McMahon in charge of every other Star Trek property moving forward, or at the very least season 2 of Picard, because is
he the Star Trek version of Dave Filoni?
Yeah, sure, why not? I would go so far as to say that we can wrap up here now by using Picard to bookend this, because we've actually talked up quite a lot what we like about New Trek with Discovery and brushing a little bit on Lower Decks, but Picard is a good place to move on to some of the things we don't like about New Trek, because Picard is the weakest. We both agreed with this.
It's the weakest of the New Trek.
It's definitely the weakest of the New Trek, and it falls a lot because of the story more than anything. It's the
premise of the first season is.
I think the premise is fine. The execution.
They padded it out with too much stuff.
I think Michael Chabon, the showrunner of that series, he had this amazing concept of the implications of artificial intelligence and
then he should have wrote a sci-fi show about that, not a Star Trek show.
I think he made the mistake of trying to steal the story from the Mass Effect trilogy, because that's basically what's going on. Heck, even, do you know the noises when those tentacles are coming out at the end, the space tentacles? Those noises are like Geth noises.
Right.
Very similar to Geth noises anyway. But the whole concept, though, of there's a race of sentient machines out beyond the edges of the galaxy who are going to come and destroy all organic life, very Mass Effect-y.
And do you know what I got a feeling from when they opened the portals? Do you know what all I could see there was the first Hellboy, the ending of the first Hellboy, and I was like, what?
Well, just imagine that the gods of chaos were robots.
Yeah. So this is why I did. So. I'm going to say what I didn't like about Picard first, and then I'm going to end it with what I actually did like. I didn't like the serialized nature of it. Star Trek works best when it's not serialized. It's how I personally feel. And all the shows generally do that. They have serialized storylines. Like, the longest one we ever got was a 7-series one in Deep Space Nine, and it was brilliant.
7 episodes.
7 episode, yeah. And it was brilliant. But it was still only part of a 22-episode series.
The whole series of Deep Space Nine does also recognize
linear storytelling,
individual moments. Like, they'll always talk back about something that happened 10 episodes ago. Whereas in Star Trek: The Next Generation and Voyager, it's almost like as soon as
bad guy of the week.
As soon as the episode's over, no matter what's happened in that episode, it's all reset and back to square one the following episode.
So that
Deep
is
Space
what
Nine did acknowledge that the passage of time was happening.
That's one aspect I think Picard falls down. Secondly, like you say, I think the plot, the general consensus of the story, that was okay. But
concept
of the story was all right.
Consensus is a group agreement.
Our consensus, yeah. The concept of the story was fine, but there was too much thrown into it that it just felt bloated. And it left me thinking...
He bit off more than he could chew, did
Yeah.
the showrunner, Michael Chabon. He really... He had this amazing concept, and then when he started to get overwhelmed, he had like, fuck.
And then third thing I didn't like...
I need to fucking contrive a whole bunch of shit here to make this make sense.
And then third thing I didn't like about it was I didn't think we needed to have a old Picard series. But that was just me. I thought we should have been either embracing NuTrek, as in NuTrek. So coming up with...
Capitan.
Yeah.
Au contraire. You know what we could have done, though, and I know you agree with this, because this is the first thing, because he just finished watching the show, actually, and he said this, and I had this feeling as I was watching it.
An anthology.
They should have doubled down and had him killed off.
Yeah.
That moment when he dies at the end is, like, really good.
I thought that was... I thought that was a Schrodinger's cat for me. Because at one point it was phenomenal, but at the same time it was terrible because of what was coming next. The fact that they brought him straight back...
How was that Schrodinger's cat?
Because he existed in the two states. It was a great part of it, and it was also a bad part of it.
Until you observed it and it became one.
And then I observed it, and he actually got resurrected. And I was like, oh, all right.
Okay, sure.
So those are the three things I didn't like about it. What I did like about it, though, is the introduction. Three things. What I did like about it, though, was the introduction and the development of the new crew guys.
The new crew guys?
Crew guys and gals. I liked Reyes. I liked...
crew guys?
Crew guys.
Hashtag crew guys.
I liked Reyes. I thought he was a very good Han Solo type. I loved Raffi.
I didn't. He's not Han Solo type at all.
Yeah, he is.
He's completely opposite of Han Solo. How is he in any shape or form like Han Solo?
He's a kind of like space cowboy.
No, he's a former the Starfleet first officer.
Yeah, who's turned to running shit.
No, he's a very by the book kind of guy who wants to just do things on his own.
I could see him running spice.
No, he wants to do things on his own because he doesn't want to run the risk.
Take orders.
No, he wants to do things on his own. No, see, this goes to show you completely don't understand the character. The reason he's a lone wolf is because he doesn't want to have to lose people. He doesn't want to suffer. He likes being by himself because he doesn't want to.
He's an introvert.
He doesn't want to lose anyone. He doesn't want to get close to anyone because.
But he gets close to Agnes
because he lost his captain and whatnot.
Yeah, but he gets close to Agnes, and she's a great.
He's not a Han Solo type, isn't Rios? No, he's not.
And
the only thing he shares in common with Han Solo is he has a little freighter ship that he uses to smuggle and stuff.
So
no, that's his job.
Yeah, then his job's like Han Solo.
Do you have everything? Like, are you the same person as all the other pilots out there?
Why did Han Solo become like he is? Because he lost what's the name? Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah, sure.
No, I liked
Rios is a good character because he's different from.
I liked Agnes because she goes from being this scared, terrified.
Let's not get bogged down on all the characters.
But that was it, though. It was the main characters, the introduction of Seven, because anything with Jerry Ryaning's awesome.
Yeah.
That is what I liked about Picard. I just didn't like how it was
that's
told.
I think they were going for Firefly, but in the Star Trek universe. And where they failed in that is that Firefly made a good concerted effort at getting you involved with the characters and the ship first. The stories came second. In Picard, they wanted their cake and to eat it. They wanted the characters and get you in love with this new ship, which, again, La Serena, I'm not really a big fan of the ship or anything. It hasn't won me over yet. But they wanted that, and they wanted some sort of world-ending, devastating, crazy, mind-blowing, serialized plot. And that's where Picard falls flat on its face. Because if you took that away and just made Picard an episodic story about, let's say Picard just wanted to find himself. He's like, you know what? I'm sick of getting old and waiting to die, which is a good moment, I find, when he makes that realization. And he just decides, he's like, I can't get back into Starfleet. I'm too old. I'm retired. I'm gonna go find me some gun for hire who has a ship, and I'm just gonna go hire him to take me around the galaxy to go try to solve mysteries. Well, that would have made it so much better.
Hopefully they'll do that in season 2.
Well, do you know what? There's a famous YouTube channel that we both like called Red Letter Media, and they pitched their idea for what the Picard show should have been, Star Trek Galaxy. And in a nutshell, what it would have been is Picard, Geordie LaForge, and Leah Brahms, the woman who designed the Galaxy-class starship, were sent to investigate...
That would be awkward.
They were sent to investigate a derelict galaxy class that was discovered out in some nebula somewhere, and what ended up happening is they get stranded on this galaxy class ship with a bunch of young, fresh out of the academy ensigns and whatnot, and they have to, almost kind of like a Lost in Space style story, they have to find their way back to Federation.
I hope they go with yours though.
Yeah, that would have been so much better, but again, Picard just fails because
it's trying to be too epic.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope they go for season 2 with your pitch. It's basically Kung Fu in space with Picard playing the character of Kung Fu.
Which he could probably do now because he's an android.
Yeah. Well, no, he doesn't actually have to perform Kung Fu. He's got the Romulan nun to do that. Yeah. But that to me would be better. Now you've got this crew of characters that we actually like, because they did it well. Have them going from place to place, helping people out and solving mysteries. Yeah. That would be such a better concept.
So to wrap up then, let me just go over the overarching reason, the generalization as to what I think of NuTrek. I think NuTrek it's fun. It's fine. I'm glad we have it. I look forward to it when it comes out. I cringe when cringy shit happens. I get pins and I get goosebumps when stuff that I love happens. At the end of the day, is it perfect? I think Discovery is coming close to perfection. I believe Lower Decks achieves exactly what it wants to achieve, and in its own way, it is perfection. Picard is just a little rough around the edges. So ultimately, yeah, it's fine. But because I like it doesn't mean I think it's amazing or it's the best thing ever. Well, and I don't think it doesn't have any problems. That's one of my issues, I guess, with the audience. You think they're a polarized audience. I think the majority are like me. I think the majority it's Star Trek. It's fine. I enjoy it for what it is.
So my thoughts are this: Discovery is doing what all the other good series did. Started relatively weak and is getting stronger and stronger. And as long as they keep going in that trajectory, we now like the characters. The ship is like a fish out of water, and there's so much that it can explore. So I'm hoping Discovery keeps going in that direction. So that NuTrek, doing the right thing. Lower Decks, excellent. My favourite of the three. It's basically, if you've not seen a show called Final Space, it's as good as that. And Final Space was a comedy cartoon, but with a serious edge. And Lower Decks is doing the exact same there. It's really good. Picard, we said, was the weaker of the three. But because it's Patrick Stewart and a character that we all love, we'll still watch it. I just hope they don't, in next season, double down and have an even bigger villain and go back to villain of the week or helping somebody out of the week with maybe an overarching mystery that each quest that they solve leads them towards the end game, something like that. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, if you want to add like a little extra here on course correction for Picard, if you want to say Discovery's trending in the right direction, Lower Decks is fine. If Picard had one thing you could change about it, is stop trying to make a Emmy award-winning story. Just work on the characters and put them into scenarios that make them have to solve problems and get in each other's grill and whatnot and make a Firefly, essentially.
My biggest thing is, and the biggest takeaway from this is, whether you like NuTrek or you don't like NuTrek, if you like it, watch it. If you don't like it, there's no one putting a gun to your head telling you to watch the show. Simple as that.
I mean, I don't care if you don't like it. You're allowed to not like it.
There's nothing wrong with not liking it. Just
and no, but also equally, you're allowed to like it as well.
It's the big thing that people
art is relatively subjective.
People who jump on the internet screaming and all this. Like, honestly, if you don't like it that much, do yourself a favor and don't watch it.
Yeah, but do you know what? I think people like that love
to jump on the internet.
They love to freak. Yeah. Because that realistically, the people on the internet are a minority. I already touched on this, but it's true. YouTube channels, Facebook groups, they are the minority of most people.
Everybody who loves it and everybody who doesn't love it, just bear this in mind. If you are a Star Trek fan, they are still making new Star Trek. That's the best thing to take away from this. It's not the medium's not dead. The universe isn't dead. They're still trying to make shows. We've got. Strange New Things?
Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds coming. Looking forward to that because I liked the introductions of the character in Discovery
There's a
Season 2.
series with Giorgio in it as well, which was a Section 31
Is it not
show.
been called that?
I don't know yet. I'm not sure.
There again, there's like Picard. I didn't need a Section 31 show, but because of Michelle Yeoh's character, she was fantastic. I'll watch it because I want to see what she does.
Yeah.
Watching her being badass around the universe.
I'll just take it as it comes.
We're still getting more and more Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like the Star Wars fans that complain about all the recent Star Wars stuff. Don't, because if you complain enough and they stop making it, you're not going to get it.
And I honestly, to me, Star Wars is not Star Trek in that sense. That's what separates Star Trek from Star Wars. Star Trek is a science fiction TV series for like neckbeards.
Yeah,
people who live in their grandparents' basements.
Yeah, but
Star Wars is more hip. Star Wars is more cool, and I don't think
hip.
Star Wars needs to stay away from Star Trek's like turf, if you know what I mean.
No, because they showed that an episodical series with a kind of running thread is a phenomenal way to go.
But I still think they fucked it up. But like, I like The Mandalorian, but we've gone over that ad nauseum. I think that's probably a good place to end this. But don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until next time,
see you later.
Beat me up.
Snotty.